When a company decides to disrupt a market, the immediate reflex is to hunt for a new technological trend or pour capital into product engineering. To guide this effort, corporate boards turn to the canonical texts on business strategy, studying frameworks outlined in books like The Innovator's Dilemma or Blue Ocean Strategy. They look to thinkers like Clayton Christensen, whose theories dictate how multi-billion-dollar conglomerates allocate their resources. But across the top 15 books on disruptive innovation, there is a systemic omission. A search of their indexes for the word branding returns almost zero results. This creates a severe vulnerability. Companies engineer superior technologies, launch them, and assume the product's performance will guarantee market dominance. They treat branding as a downstream marketing task, something to make the product look appealing after the engineering is complete. This omission suggests that even the most innovative breakthroughs remain unshielded. Without a strategic brand frame, a technological lead is a temporary advantage waiting for a competitor to replicate it. David Aaker diagnoses this failure with a specific thesis. Branding is the structural mechanism required to position a new subcategory and lock out competitors. Most markets operate on brand preference. This is a battle of attrition where competitors fight over the same consumers by offering incremental improvements, faster processors, cheaper materials, or better specifications. Aaker argues for brand relevance. This happens when a company frames an entirely new subcategory defined by specific, non-negotiable features called must-haves. When a brand establishes relevance dominance, competitors lacking those exact must-haves are excluded from the consumer's decision-making process entirely. They are rendered invisible. Moving a product out of the preference battle and establishing a relevance monopoly requires the C-suite to execute two specific strategic jobs. Job one is to define the subcategory. The brand must step out in front of its own product and act as the authentic advocate for the entire subcategory. It does this through framing, controlling the vocabulary of the market so that consumers view all available options through one specific lens. Salesforce executed this when it entered the enterprise software market. Mark Benioff leveraged the cloud computing label to separate Salesforce from every traditional software provider on the market. Salesforce aggressively reinforced this frame, going so far as to picket competitor events with signs bearing a single word, obsolete. They forced specific must-haves into the public consciousness: no upfront software fees, continuous upgrades, and web-based access. Legacy software providers could not deliver these features. Salesforce changed the competitive question from which software is better to why would you buy anything that isn't in the cloud, instantly invalidating entrenched competitors. Once you establish a relevance monopoly, job two is to erect structural barriers that prevent competitors from entering the space. The first barrier is earning exemplar status. Defining the category early grants your brand the authentic label in the minds of consumers. Tesla dominates the electric vehicle market through this exact mechanism. Elon Musk fused Tesla's brand identity tightly with the concept of the modern electric vehicle. This creates a psychological trap. To prove their electric vehicles are viable, legacy automakers are forced to compare their specifications directly against Tesla's benchmarks. By forcing competitors to use the exemplar as the baseline, this barrier uses competitors' own marketing budgets to reinforce the leader's dominance. The second barrier is the moving target. A static monopoly is a vulnerable monopoly. The exemplar must continuously evolve the subcategory frame, adding new must-haves before competitors can match the original standards. Toyota dominated the hybrid subcategory with the Prius for over a decade. Toyota maintained the Prius's dominance by forcing a cycle of continuous upgrades to the interior and driving performance, making the original specs obsolete before competitors could match them. This keeps competitors perpetually trapped in the past, burning R&D budgets to achieve parity with an offering the exemplar has already left behind. The third barrier is branded differentiators. Launching a disruptive feature is insufficient. To prevent commoditization, it must be branded. Uniqlo engineered a proprietary fabric that retains body heat, which they named Heat Tech. Unbranded technology is highly vulnerable. Competitors can easily reverse engineer the chemistry of a moisture-wicking or heat-retaining garment. But while a competitor can copy the chemical composition, they cannot legally use the authentic Heat Tech brand name. A branded differentiator converts a temporary technological edge into a permanent cognitive asset, securing the exact mental shortcut consumers use at the point of purchase. The final barrier is scaling the loyal base. You must capture the highest value customers before competitors can organize a response. To understand weaponized scaling, you simply need to look at Amazon. Jeff Bezos executed a strategy of systematically foregoing early profits to build insurmountable logistics infrastructure. This infrastructure enabled Amazon Prime, locking in a massive user base with exclusive must-haves like free 2-day shipping. While Amazon scaled physically, Airbnb scaled culturally. Airbnb's two-sided review system and cultural trust locked in hosts and guests early on, making it incredibly difficult for clone platforms to gain traction. When an exemplar saturates a market with users who see no reason to switch, the cost of acquiring a single customer often exceeds the potential profit, effectively closing the door to latecomers. This is the architecture of a relevance monopoly. The exemplar brand sits securely inside a four-walled fortress. If you attempt to compete against this structure without a disruptive frame of your own, you are excluded from consideration before the consumer even looks at your product. This highlights the danger of omitting branding from innovation frameworks. Treating branding as a tactical add-on for generating awareness leaves your technology exposed. Deploying it as a strategic moat allows you to lock out the competition by rewriting the rules of relevance entirely.